Hey, everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. MeatEater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. MeatEater Live, headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new MeatEater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, MeatEater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
You're listening to the Sportsman's Nation Podcast Network, brought to you by Outdoor Edge Knives. Now, Outdoor Edge has a large range of fixed and replaceable blade knives and game cleaning kits. Now, imagine this. You just shot a deer in the backcountry or an elk or whatever, and it's time to break it down, right? It's hot. You're a long way from the truck, so time is a factor, and you got to get the meat back to the truck so there's no waste. Your blade becomes dull, so instead of having to stop and sharpen the blade, all you do is you take your Outdoor Edge knife, you push a button on the handle, the blade pops out, you put a new blade back in, and you're back to work. You get back to the truck, there's no wasted meat, everybody wins. Now, if you want to find out more information about Outdoor Edge and their complete line of knives and game cleaning kits, all you have to do is go to OutdoorEdge.com, and when you check out or you decide you want to purchase a knife, enter the discount code NATION30, and you're going to save 30% off of your purchase. That's NATION30, and that's OutdoorEdge.com.
My name is Clay Newcomb, and I'm the host of the Bear Hunting Magazine podcast. I'll also be your host into the world of hunting the icon of North American wilderness, the bear. We'll talk about tactics, gear, conservation, but we'll also bring you into some of the wildest country on the planet, chasing bear. Hey, Colby, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Man, so I want to introduce this podcast that everybody's about to listen to. Just last week, I got back from Bozeman, Montana. Mm-hmm. And so we have on the podcast this week Steve Rinella and Janis Putelis.
Yep, the dynamic duo.
Yeah, with MeatEater. So I feel like I need to explain myself a little bit for why I did the interview the way I did it. Okay. Because I don't think it was very traditional in the sense of if you were interviewing these outdoorsmen and hunters, like how you do it. Because we really didn't talk about hunting.
Yeah.
And this is why, Colby, is because everybody already knows all their stories, knows their hunting style and preferences and what kind of guns they use and what kind of gear they have. And so all this stuff is because of the vast amount of content that they've produced, everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And so there were some things that I was a little bit more interested in, you know, and I think everybody's in the outdoor space that's paying attention, you know, are kind of interested in MeatEater. I mean, it's kind of sprung up. I mean, Rinella has been around for a long time, and so is Young. I mean, they're not new.
Yeah.
But in the last 2 or 3 years,
that brand,
the brand has grown, and so it was kind of like some backdoor questions.
Yeah.
And I even went out of my way to try to ask them a few hard questions. And so,
any sneak peek?
I'm not going to give any sneak peeks right now, but it was pretty cool because they don't do a ton of other podcasts, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
it's
so
rare.
Yeah. So I think you're going to enjoy it. I've got to give a little bit of a backstory though. You know, we have documented all of our hunts for the last 6 years through Bear Hunting Magazine media stuff.
Yep.
Like we've had spring bear hunts that we've put on YouTube, that we've done podcast. Well, we've only done the podcast for 2 years now.
Yeah.
But like every spring we've documented our stuff and people have seen it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Not so this year.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because we didn't hunt, but part of the reason I was in Bozeman is because Steve and I and Janis were, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I hunted in Montana with Rinella and Putelis for a bear hunt for an episode of MeatEater.
Yep.
That is, who knows when it's going to come out.
Yeah.
It may be on season 9. It may even be on season 10. So I was in Montana with those guys in May. And usually that would have been content that we would have produced for Bear Hunting Magazine. You know?
Yeah.
And so some people who follow our YouTube channel are like, what have you guys been doing? Well, we were hunting, but, you know, the content from the bear hunt is going to be on Netflix for MeatEater. So it didn't go on the Bear Hunting Magazine YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We may pirate it off of Netflix, like with a video camera.
Yeah.
Don't tell Rinella.
Yeah.
Just like a video camera, like
Yeah.
filming the screen.
Yeah, and we'll
put
have
it on
somebody sitting there in front of it just so you have a
It's
silhouette
like
of
a
someone.
silhouette, yeah, that would be accidental. So we do not talk about the hunt, our hunt together. We've not publicly even talked about that hunt
Yeah.
because we did a MeatEater podcast that is supposed to come out on the 27th of July. That I think it's going to, maybe they'll put something else in, but be watching the MeatEater podcast to hear about our hunt in Montana, where we go into all the details of the hunt.
Yeah.
So it might have been like, well, why didn't you talk about your hunt? Well, we talked about the hunt on the MeatEater podcast. And so I just wanted to say all that.
Yep.
All right. So I think you'll enjoy. I think you'll enjoy this podcast. It's not super long, and kind of cut to the chase.
Yeah.
We are in Bozeman, Montana, and I am here with a couple of young outdoorsmen that you probably haven't heard of. Stefan Rinella,
That's correct.
and your friend here is Janis Putelis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good.
I do feel like I've moved out of youngness.
Okay. Okay. Well, I hear you guys have started a website, I'm getting my notes here, eatingmeat.net,
Man-eater.
maneater.net. Okay. Okay. So, no, the website is, it's meateater.com. That's what it is.
Well,
Themeateater.com.
that's correct.
Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to give some background so people kind of know who you guys are. I have here that you guys have a regional radio talk show. Can you tell me about that?
It's digital online talk show, radio show.
Oh, okay. It's a radio
The
show, though.
Man-eater. The Man-eater podcast.
Okay. Okay. Oh, a podcast. A podcast. Okay. So you're a podcast host. Okay. I have in my notes as well that you guys do some filming. Y'all have a Vimeo channel. You have are making some DVDs.
Yes.
Is that right?
We've dabbled
I mean,
in
tell me if
DVDs.
I'm wrong.
No, we're actually moving back into the DVD business.
Okay.
Our whole library is going to be available on DVD again,
Okay.
which seems like retro, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's filling a need.
Yeah.
Moving back into DVD.
There's demand.
I'm getting some. Oh, okay. You guys are on Netflix.
That's correct.
Not Vimeo.
Netflix and seriously moving into DVD.
You're gonna make some DVDs.
Yeah, we're gonna make some DVDs.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we never got out of DVDs
Bear Hunting Magazine.
We shouldn't have gotten out of DVDs, but we got out of DVDs.
Yeah, yeah.
But MeatEater is also available at
MeatEater, that's what it is.
at Sportsman Channel and out. Are there episodes on both channels now? Yeah, Sportsman's and Outdoor.
Okay.
If you're a cable subscriber.
All right. So maybe you would have heard.
They actually have access. They air an enormous, like a wide breadth of. I mean, like the whole library.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many seasons of this MeatEater show have you guys produced?
It's it's so weird because like the seasons mean different things, but our ninth season, but the seasons that vary so much in length. We've had, but yeah, 9.
9 seasons.
Approximately 130 episodes.
130 episodes. How many of those have you been involved with,
Seinfeld.
Janis?
Probably right at 100.
Okay.
Can it be?
Okay.
Yeah.
100 episodes.
Cow.
Okay, Steve, I've got a quote here about Janis, pronounced Janis, not Janis, as I said mistakenly.
My
said
truck
earlier.
says Janis Putelis.
Putelis. Okay, I heard you say this about Janis the other day, and I just wanted a little bit of clarity, and I would like for Janis to give his feedback. Quote from Steve Rinella: Janis Putelis is good at everything he does. Maybe he knows what he sucks at and inherently steers clear of it.
I said that?
Yes, you did.
What was I talking about?
It was on that Federal Premium podcast. Oh. Yeah. So
No, I can picture saying it, and I stand by it, but I just didn't know where. I thought maybe when I was talking with you, I said that.
No. This is documented. So I guess we'll start with Janis. Janis, do you? How are you good at everything that you do?
and how do I steer clear that I suck at? Oh, buddy, I don't know.
No, I heard that. I was listening to that podcast with you guys, thinking about this podcast, and
So I said it. I said it in Janis's presence.
Yeah. No, it was the ultimate compliment.
Very
It was a
nice compliment.
Yeah, it was. I sent the quote to Janis, so I thought maybe it had slipped by him. But no, you guys have you guys met 7-8 years ago, and you went on a hunt in Alaska, and we're just going to kind of fill in. Give me just like a quick rundown of how you got in with MeatEater, Janis.
Yeah, Steve's wife and I went to grade school together, high school as well, and then stayed loosely in touch. And so through that and a couple other, small world kind of coincidences, Steve emailed me while I happened to be living in Fairbanks, and he had happened to draw the Toke sheep tag, which is a couple hours away, and ended up inviting me along, and I basically came on to serve to fill the position as a WPA, which is the Wilderness Production Assistant for MeatEater.
That's trademarked, by the way.
Okay.
And yeah, you know what? Oh, we'll talk about that later. I just had an idea. Just had an idea popping into my head, but I don't know if I want to share it with the world yet, with the bear hunting world. But and so I rolled in to Toke, and we met in Fairbanks, and we all drove down to Toke together and did a sheep hunt, and hit it off so well that by the time I flew out of the mountains, everybody else had flown out ahead of me. They had already secured my spot to go on a hunt the week following to go caribou hunting for another episode, which I thought I couldn't do because my wife needed me to be at home watching.
She had
the
to
kid.
travel down.
She had to travel down to Utah for an interview, and they had somehow, I don't know what Dan did, if he just said he'd pay her or what, but she went to Utah with the kid, with the 1-year-old on her own, flew down there so that I could go.
Nice.
Continue
And
on the
Steve,
MeatEater path.
You just liked Janis. He was a hard-working dude, knowledgeable in the field. Yeah. So MeatEater was
Inspires-
going at that time. MeatEater was.
Oh, we
rolling.
were a couple seasons in, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say that was the tail end of season 2,
Yeah.
somewhere
end of
in
season
there.
2.
He came
then
on
the
an
part
episode
is-
we did with the Toke hunt, and then we rolled into that with an episode where we went hunting with Tim Ferriss,
Okay.
who I got a text message from and haven't replied, which I need to do. Make a little note. And that's the truth. And Yanni had a cameo in that episode.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Well, I think people, so in having the opportunity to talk to you guys, like not on one of your platforms, I've kind of been trying to think of what would be some good stuff to talk to you guys about. And, Steve, I think the question that I would have personally wanted to ask you is just like on this progressive journey. And I mean, I think we could say now that like the place where MeatEater and you guys are at is at a significant place of influence, not just in the current media platforms of modern outdoor hunting, but even in like the grand scale of outdoor hunting media. I mean, you guys are influential massively. Did you forecast this, Steve? Would you have foreseen that this was going to happen? Like, walk me through like the journey, because I think what happens is somebody sees somebody that's like successful at what they do, and you just assume that they were just born that way. Like you just assume that they were, that LeBron James was just 6'8" and the world's greatest athlete, and of course he's gonna, be who he is. But really, he worked for it. He didn't know how it was gonna happen. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll kind of answer it two ways. The first way is no. When I went to graduate school and like assumed a lot of debt to go to graduate school, student loans, and coming out of that, I was despondent. I had no idea what I was going to do. Right? I thought I'd make like a huge mistake. I thought, man, I should just go to law school. Like I don't know, like why would you go so into debt to do an MFA, a Master of Fine Arts, in writing? And I remember coming back from a deer hunt with my brother and him saying in a way that almost startled me.
Do you mind sharing how much debt that is, or is that too like much personal information?
What it costs to go to
graduate
school?
or just an average of what an MFA would run at.
I think I came in, but I went part-time at first. So I went part-time at first because I wanted to get residency so I could get lower tuition. But you can't like get residency out of this is. Anyhow, it took me 3 years to go to graduate school.
Now you'd be surprised. It's interesting.
It took me 3 years to go to graduate school. I worked full-time through it, or full-time-ish, cutting trees and installing cabinets, and came out of it with $35,000 of debt.
It's not bad.
Sure felt like it at the time.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I was despondent. I didn't know what I was going to do. It was real hard to picture. But I remember my brother saying, like, he doesn't say anything with a high level of certainty. Like, he's not one to speculate a whole bunch. But I just remember him being like, talking to him, having like zero doubt. He's like, I don't have any doubt that you'll be fine. You'll just be fine. That stuck with me.
So that was valuable to you, that your brother kind of had your back and was
because he just saw something very clearly that I couldn't see, but he's not like one to just say a bunch of stupid stuff all the time.
Yeah.
In terms of the other part of it, it's a little bit hard to say because like when I started my career, some of the mediums that we work in now didn't exist.
Right. Podcasts.
Yeah, it was like the heyday of glossy magazines.
Yeah.
Pre.com crash. This is when I first started selling magazine stories.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden overnight magazines lost like a half of their volume or whatever. But podcasts weren't around. Netflix was not around.
YouTube probably wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know
as
where.
big
I don't
as
know,
it was.
Yeah,
in
YouTube was just
infancy.
for cell phone videos and
then
weird stuff.
And then, like, we're doing some audio projects for Random House right now. Like, there were books on tape and stuff, but there wasn't like original audio work happening. But there were books, and we still do books. But it's hard to picture because any of the ways that all the things we make now and the way we do what we do weren't around. And so so it wasn't like, oh, we'll explore all these things. I was like, I thought that magazine writing was the end all be all. I thought that was what you were trying to do.
So you adapted though. You had the ability to change and to try something new. I mean, would you say that?
Yeah, I used to think that there was. I feel like I'm talking about the same bunch of ideas that I've always talked about. I just talk about them, and I guess I just embrace new ways of new formats, new mediums. But it's just like the same. It's the same set of ideas. It's like the same interest, just expressed through certain ways. So I don't want to overplay the adaptability. It would just be that continue talking about something that I care about, and instead of feeling like writers at that time when I was starting as a writer, they all lived in fear. Back then, everybody lived in fear of Amazon. Amazon was going to destroy the book business. Okay, so we were all screwed because Amazon. And you get into that mindset of just like being afraid of everything all the time, all these new things, and everything's going to ruin everything. And at a point, you live through a handful of these, everything getting ruined, and you see that everything's not, in fact, ruined. You get to a point where you're just more comfortable with it. So if you told me now that if you're like, all your favorite ways of communicating now, right, like will die for some reason. This thing's going to kill all the ways you communicate, but there'll be these new emerging ways that people communicate. Once upon a time, I would have been very afraid.
Right.
But now I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to spend a bunch of time complaining about it.
Yeah.
And I would just be like, let me know when their new things are ready, and we'll start to figure those things out. I think that's like a little bit of a shift. Because I saw a lot of people get left in the dust.
Yes.
A lot of people got left in the dust.
What has been the most difficult or even stressful part of building what you've done?
How everything's ephemeral.
Meaning you start something that's strong and then it fades away into
My
like
brother-
magazine articles, like not as
that
popular.
kind of ephemeral. Everything seems like not sustainable. Like you have to be moving hard.
Okay.
My brother works for the federal government. Okay. He was explaining one day, he said, man, if I wanted to, I could sit down with a calculator and probably tell you to the dollar how much money I will earn in my lifetime. Like I could tell you to the dollar.
As long as he stays with that job until he retires.
Just like assuming that he's a high performer, right? He like does his job very well. And you're taking into all kinds of assumptions, but the point of the conversation was not like please don't think it wasn't a conversation about him being cocky about his role. That wasn't what he was saying. He was commenting on being a salaried person in a career position. I don't want to. I almost like hesitate. No, I'll stick with this, but I don't want to sell him short by saying we were having a specific conversation about unknown things in life.
Yes.
Okay. And being a writer or whatever is unknown. Like you sell a book. Whether or not you get to sell another one depends on how well that one did, right? If people overbet on you and you fall too short, they might not bet on you again.
Yeah.
So it's like everything you're doing needs to be good enough that you can do another one. And that's hard. It's mentally hard. It's hard to live in that position, and it brings about a tremendous amount of uncertainty. You're one misstep away from being done. Okay? Yeah. And he was just talking about we're just talking about that and the financial
and probably the
financial strain that comes from that
and
stuff.
The differences in you guys' lives.
Yeah, the financial strains. When you sell a book, it used to be that the book came in 3 payments. Now a book comes in 4 payments. You sell a book, you get every deal isn't this way, but you sell a book, you write a proposal and sell a book. You get a payment up front. You get a payment when your manuscript is accepted. You get a payment when it's published. You get a payment a year after its publication date. You're talking about a span of time that could stretch easily into 4 years. Like you got to be good at managing stuff to take these lump sums of money and then do all the work necessary to do the book and spend all that money that it takes to research something, and then hope that it's good enough that you can then, it's just stressful, financially stressful.
Yeah.
So that conversation led to this idea where he was just saying like, I could sort of like calculate out what my lifetime earnings would be, assuming I hold the position I hold.
You live inside of that space though. Do you thrive with that, Steve? Because you manage it. I mean, like, because
I thrive with it, but I don't enjoy it, man. I don't enjoy that part of it.
Well,
but at a point, after so long, I'm not as paranoid anymore about getting shut down.
Yeah.
I could probably absorb a failure. Well, I have absorbed failure. I mean, at this point, I've absorbed failures. I've absorbed like I've had experienced some significant failures, but I don't feel like it's like I'm going to get killed off for it.
Right.
But I used to be afraid. Of getting killed off for it.
What drives what you're doing? Like if you could, because I know that it has to do with natural. I mean, you're a passionate hunter. You're a voice for conservation. You're a communicator. You're communicating to a lot of different people that haven't heard hunting communication done this way. So I understand that, like being passionate about that. But you're also like, is there a place where you've done what you wanted to do?
I don't know. I could picture it now more than ever. A friend of ours just recently sold his business, which he'd been busting his ass to build since he was in his early 20s. He's a year or two older than me, a couple years older than me. He just sold his business, and he worked his fingers to the bone, right? At great sacrifice to his family, worked his ass off. And when he sold his business, he was talking about the impulse, the instinct to, as he put it, crawl into a deep, dark hole, And yeah, man, I joke now, but I'm only half joking. I'd like to, I want to just have a camper trailer and hunt turkeys with my wife in the spring. She can read books. I'll hunt turkeys, and then we'll start in Florida in March and land wherever we land, and then I don't care about the rest of the year.
Yeah,
like that's a very, very enticing scenario.
What do you
and not talk to anybody but my kids?
But you're a businessman, but you're also dealing with people. How would you describe yourself with people, Steve? Like are you?
I like the ones I like a lot. A lot.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're loyal to the people.
The ones I like them a whole bunch.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I guess.
Fall bear season is upon us. And if you are baiting black bears, you need to be using Northwoods Bear Products. My favorite thing that they make, I say it all the time, is their Northwoods Gold Rush. It's a fryer grease additive. And here's what we're going to do, Colby.
Okay.
Colby, you're in charge of this.
Yeah.
Is that if guys will leave a review on iTunes for the Bear Hunting Magazine podcast, take a screenshot, send it to our Instagram or Facebook Messenger or info@bear-hunting.com.
Yeah.
We will send a bottle of Gold Rush to one of these guys.
Gold Rush.
Yes, that is it. Hey, while you're at it, check out our buddies at W Hunting Supply. These guys have all your hound-related needs. If you have any kind of sporting dog, whether it be labs, whether it be squirrel dogs, whether it be pointing dogs, whether it be coon dogs, whether it be bear dogs, whatever kind of sporting dogs you got, W Hunting Supply is your source for everything that you need related to sporting dogs. Bear Hunting Magazine is the only print bear hunting magazine in the world. And people have a novel opportunity here to subscribe to our magazine.
Yep.
And Colby Moorhead will deliver 6 issues per year to your house. If you want to see Colby Moorhead knock on your door and give you a magazine, subscribe to our magazine. No, that's not true. The U.S. Postal Service will do it. But, hey, in a world of all this digital media, to get a high-quality magazine full of adventure stories, tactics, recipes, all kind of stuff, it's a It's a great price,
Yeah.
and you won't regret it. So, hey, subscribe to Bear Hunting Magazine at bear-hunting.com and use the promo code BHM20 for $5 off.
Yep.
BHM20.
You know, I'm getting down to like the essential question that I wanted to ask you. And Janis, you chime in here too. MeatEater was built on authenticity. If I could describe it, and I mean, I've really only known you guys a fairly short period of time. So, you know, I was watching as somebody.
We met right here, right?
No, I met you at a SHOT Show one time.
But mostly met right
Yeah,
here.
pretty much. So MeatEater was built on this authenticity inside of a context in the hunting world that had lost a lot of authenticity. And so the question is, and that's what would characterize you, Steve, and Janis too, and just kind of the brand I feel like is authenticity. And so how do you maintain that authenticity in the midst of massive growth when we know, like everybody knows that consumes hunting media that it has to be paid for? I mean, so what stole authenticity?
No, they don't know that.
You don't think so? I mean, what stole authenticity?
That really irritates people.
Well, is that guys
Especially
were
when you're in the business of providing like basic like free media, like
right?
podcasts are free, right? I mean, there's an advertising component, but you're like
Yeah.
producing like free media. Netflix, you know, it's not free, but it's a very low subscriber fee. It's it's a bottomless pit of content,
Right.
right? Like, you know, I don't. It's not transactional per episode. However, people are very irritated when confronted with the idea that you need to finance the operation.
Right.
That you need to finance your ability to make free content.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But people know it's not understood. I don't think it's widely understood.
Well, so how do you maintain? Because I mean, what I was saying was that you've done a good job of maintaining that authenticity in inside of the context. So how do you keep doing that? Hey, let me. I digress to.
Hold on, but go ahead. But I think the questions the question's like there, but it's eluding you.
Okay. Well, that's the question. How do you build a business like you have and maintain the authenticity that got you here? I mean, I think it's the essential question.
Because it'd be like, let's say you make shoes, okay? And you make good shoes. And then pretty soon you have a big company that makes shoes. People aren't going to say to you, how do you continue to make shoes? Be like, well, that's what we do.
Well,
So I'm saying, like, what got what created the situation anyways is
it's
just
still what's created.
it's just like making a thing that felt real and that you could feel passionate
Yeah.
about. If you stop doing that, you've stopped making shoes.
Do you see that happening
You know what I'm saying?
with
Like-
other
like-
people? I see what you're saying.
Like, what is it? If you're not doing that anymore, then you're not doing the thing that
Right.
people wanted anyway.
But do you not see that that's what happens to companies though? Is they lose that when they get big. And that's certainly not what I'm saying. I'm seeing.
well, they might, but I don't know how you keep. Yeah, I don't know. I can't really.
Okay.
I can't. Really
Well, I think
answer
in
that.
our context, though, in the hunting industry, I think maybe what you're getting at is that because of the way that you have to pay to make this stuff keep working, right? You have partnerships and advertisers, and you have to make them happy. And
Right.
so at some point, you come up to a thing where there's a huge check that's associated with maybe a product or a brand that you don't align with. But if you need that check real bad, you have to go that route, right? And then you
Right,
end up
right,
endorsing maybe a product or a brand
Right.
that you necessarily don't align with, and people see that you are being inauthentic, and then it could cost you your authenticity.
right.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Not like in the material you make, but
Well,
in the
in
ancillary
a
decisions.
holistic place, and not just that, but yes, that.
Yeah. I mean, speaking to that, I think we've just always stood our ground. And when that
Yeah.
stuff comes around, I mean, there's there's just boxes and boxes of gear that comes across through the doors of MeatEater and across our desks where we just look at it and it's like, hey, it might be good, but it's just not us, And we know we just pass on it. And we've, speaking of Steve's loyalty, I mean, First Light was the first clothing brand that he got in with and been with them for 10 years now, you know?
Yeah, the first two people to get behind our show were First Light and Vortex.
Yeah.
And we, to this day.
Yeah, they're still there.
Yeah, but I think
So I,
either,
like, and I don't have like to endorse, talk about, recommend Vortex products is not painful.
It's authentic because you've been using them for that long.
And I have like there's a product connection, but I have an emotional connection there.
Yeah.
That's not all, I don't want to tell you that that's something that's like that emotional aspect is always present, but there's parts of it that I'm like quite proud of that fact.
Yeah.
I don't view that I'm able to have like a long-term relationship and a sponsorship arrangement, a reciprocal relationship with Vortex. I don't look at that as being like, oh, it's just a thing I had to do. I'm like proud of that. Yeah.
And see, what I see is that I think there's an internal component inside of somebody that's got to be pretty strong to maintain that kind of authenticity in the midst of success. So I mean, I guess, and maybe it's so deep inside of you guys that you don't even see it.
That's not true, man.
You don't think so?
I don't want to like act like I don't understand your question. No, we have conversations all the time.
About what? What do you mean?
We have what we do is deliberate.
Yeah.
It's not accidental. Okay? We have conversations every day about not turning left or turning right, but it's like conversations every day about like getting it right.
Yeah.
Like getting it right. Detail. We did a hunt last year with these guys at this place called Crooked Sky Outfitters in Wyoming. Great dudes. Like great dudes. Love those guys. And I was having a conversation with the son, Landon Peterson. And he was observing one day to me. He was like talking about how he like observes. I would regard him like a successful person, right? Like does things intentionally. And he was telling me how he observes successful people. And he said a thing that he's noticed is that they pay attention to all the details. They pay attention to the details at their home. They pay attention to the details of how they raise their children. They pay attention to the details of what they do at work. They pay attention to the details of their vehicle. They like pay attention to the details. Always.
Yeah.
You can you can have a facade of carelessness or a facade of shooting from the hip. But I think that most people who are able to do something for a long time are very cognizant of details. And I think that we sit around arguing about that people will be like, I cannot believe these people are arguing about something that seems so mundane.
Right.
It seems so silly. But we, like, as an organization, are like, we don't think it's silly.
Yeah.
So when I say it's deliberate, there's I'm like aware of what we do.
Yeah.
And how we do it. Not to say that you don't make all kinds of screw ups, but we discuss things.
I like it. I like
at great length, things that would be silly.
Yeah.
When we're making our show, we argue over like seconds of things. I mean, really, like seconds. Considerable back and forth. You not gonna bust Janis' balls about anything?
Well, I could. No, I had a great hunt with you guys. People can listen to the story of our hunt on a MeatEater podcast that's coming out at some point, and then later be able to see our hunt on Netflix. So we could have talked about that, but that would have been too easy. Been too easy to talk about that.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That was a good throw.
It's a good throw. Yeah.
Throw to that episode.
Man, yeah. No, I enjoyed hunting with both of you guys. So bringing it back to the hunting space, man, I enjoyed hunting with you, Montana. Your people are like, is Rinella a good hunter? Is he this or that? And man,
I don't know.
he killed a turkey. But no, and Janis is fast. I would say Janis has a very good mouth crow call, very good turkey hunter, and fast. I had a hard time keeping up with him.
He's got a gait.
He's got a significant gait.
I got a little bit of mule skinning experience in too, because after Clay shot his bear, we were in I don't want to say a sticky situation, but we were running out of light. With cameras, you're always thinking about light, and I wanted Garrett and Clay to get down there to the bear to start processing the bear and get it, while we still had good light. But we couldn't take the mules right off this steep mountainside right to the bear, and the path around was a tour. I figured, man, I can lead a couple mules.
You said like Man from Snowy River?
Yeah, it would have been just like that for sure. Deadfall and all. But so I just grabbed him and led him on around the road, and I don't know, it took me a big hour or so like that. We just hot-footed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I felt like a mule guy there for an hour. Even though I wasn't riding them, I was just leading them.
Steve, did you enjoy riding the mules?
Oh yeah.
Did you really? Are you just telling me that? Just to make it feel
why would I
good?
just tell you that? You think I would tell you I'd like to ride? No, I
don't
riding
think you
those
would.
mules.
Did you?
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah, especially now. I don't know. You solved a problem I have with riding, which was the testicular pain.
Yes.
But
how did you do
your
that?
stirrups up a little bit shorter.
because everybody's always arguing with me about how I want my stirrups set up, and I always feel like, well, why do I need to like reach for them? And Clay, when he fixes it up, gives you enough. They're high enough where you can, where when you need to, you can give yourself a little buoyancy.
You need to be able to put your clenched fist in between your groin and the saddle.
So you can take pressure off when
if
that
you're
thing's
standing.
going. Whack, whack,
Yeah,
whack,
if you're standing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like.
So man, I can't believe you
You
rode that long.
Well, it's because I'm not I'm not like even good enough at that. Like I wouldn't even saddle my own horse without having someone double check my work.
Yeah.
And when I do, on the occasions when I do ride, I'm always riding with like good riders who are watching what I do.
Well,
So it's like there's not a lot of like I don't have any room to make the kind of mistakes you make to learn and accelerate. Like I don't even have room to make those mistakes because I'm a novice rider and I'm with riders who are accomplished riders. They know I just tell them I don't know what I'm doing. They watch me and they save me all the like super learning experiences that you might learn. So I'm able to be like spend day after day after day on horseback, but then say like, I wouldn't even be able to saddle it because that guy saddles it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when people were doing it, I was, And so anyways, I felt it was great to overcome that because joking aside, that was a thing that made that was that like ball slapping
was the
dude
game changer.
Made it at times not enjoyable to ride horses until I realized that there's like, it's completely preventable if you get adjusted right.
Yeah.
And other little tricks you pick up.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that even being a thing. Like when I was a little kid, I had to go to horseback riding lessons and all that, but you're just little. Never was an issue. I went out to Colorado with my half brother. We spent all summer riding around the mountains. No problem. Then later in life, I became like, man, they got to have a trick.
Yeah. Yeah, you just need your stirrups up a little bit higher. No, I was impressed that you weren't afraid of the mules.
No.
Not
the only reason I'm not afraid of them because when people tell you shouldn't be afraid of them because they'll kick the shit out of you.
Yeah. Well,
So I was like being like, hey, man, we're just going to cut to it and I'm not going to be afraid of you.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be worse if
Well, just when you were on its back, like we went through some places where the mule didn't want to cross a muddy spot or something, which always happens even with good animals. They just get kind of caught up on something and don't want to do it. And you just kind of be chilled out and just kind of let the mule go on something. So I thought you did good, despite you saying that people were critiquing your horse riding in different episodes and stuff. I thought you did pretty good.
I don't know if you're familiar with the phenomenon of online armchair experts.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure you could put up a picture of a mule and be like, "Here's my mule," and people are gonna be like, "You shoulda, I woulda, you idiot," right?
Yeah. Well, people can go. They can listen to the MeatEater podcast to hear quite a bit about that hunt, and then they can check out the Netflix. So
the podcast episode's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it is a cliffhanger. It is a cliffhanger. Or they can go to Bear Hunting Magazine and see the article that I'm going to write here sometime pretty quick. But you guys are headed to Alaska tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, going to fish.
That's correct.
What are you mainly fishing for?
We'll target primarily halibut, and then and do some shrimping and some crabbing, but primarily go after halibut, and then when that isn't making sense, go after salmon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just had a few just quick. I'm going to run through these questions and then we'll be done. So these are unanswered questions that people have about celebrities. I'm a little leery to use the word celebrity because we don't really
do we
want to
count
say
as that?
Man, I'm not sure, but no, I asked a few people and they were like, they were joking, but they were serious. Question number one, and you could just give a short answer. Are you nice to your wife? We'll start with Janis.
Extremely.
He is. It just depends for me, man. I mean, my wife's mad at me a lot. I'm mad at my wife a lot. We've been together 12 years, man. We got 3 little kids in the house. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, right?
You're not going to paint a super rosy picture
It's like
here.
a bottomless
But your intentions.
There's a tremendous amount of love and respect, and I would never do anything to disrespect my wife.
Yeah.
But it's just like anybody knows, man. Like, you get kids, you spend a lot of time on each other's nerves, and just
I'm with
whatever. You. Yeah, it's just
so
like
so people.
It's just I don't like to act like it's not. It's just a reality, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all based on respect and love. But God, it just gets stressful sometimes.
Okay.
What I like to make sure that I do, and again, I answered that question, quickly, so you could get through these questions quickly. But now, since we're getting into them, I try to, at least when I am, to then be humble and apologize.
There you go.
And
Okay.
and know that.
Hey, Janis speaks very highly of you behind your back about your being a father and husband.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I'll do a little checking around.
You did some reference checking.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Number 2. What do your wives think about all this? Like, just you guys like traveling, hunting. Just short.
For me, real quick, there was never There was never it wasn't like a thing that got introduced.
Right.
It was just always that way.
Yeah.
It was always that way. So I never had to go through a hurdle of being like, hey, I have a new lifestyle.
Because you didn't start and then it. Okay, that makes sense. Janis?
It very much was introduced. We've been married now 17 years, and so halfway through this thing kind of started, and I started traveling a whole bunch more. Although we had always been apart some, because I was a hunting guide and would be gone for most of the fall, and she spent a lot of time in the field all summer, so she would be sometimes gone in a different state for 3 months. But she's very supportive of whatever I do, and it's also a source of income, and it's nice to be able to do something you love to do, for your income. So
yeah,
can't say no to that.
Okay, we'll wrap it up, and I'm going to give you 3 options for questions, and you get to pick which question you want to answer. Is that fair?
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. So question number 1: are you a jerk behind the scenes? Question number 2: what does Saturday morning look like for you? These are actual things that people
fan
said to
questions.
Me. Yes, and number 3: how much money do you have? Ready, go.
I wanted the jerk one, man.
I wasn't gonna read how that was a joke.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Janis,
one wasn't a real question from the fan?
I mean, It was.
Nobody's ever going to answer that one.
I know.
Honestly,
it
on
was a
themselves. You could ask me if Steve's a jerk behind the scenes.
I want to do it. Yeah. I mean, we have great guys we travel with, and there's a lot of love and respect and a lot of laughs and stuff. But yeah, man, we have it out now and then.
Yeah. It's production, but you're not a jerk though, Steve. I mean, I can answer that question.
No, but we have it out now and then, you hear our podcast, and we often have Rick Smith on, and me and Rick. I mean, it's respectful, but yeah, there's like stuff we don't agree on. And I've seen Yanni come very rarely. I've seen Yanni crack the whip.
I think what people want to know is like, is somebody just an unreasonable jerk behind the scenes?
Yeah, like if the person you see on the screen is not the same person.
Like that kind of behind the scenes. I thought you meant like around. Oh, I see what you're saying. I mean, I hope not. I don't know. Who's going to be able to answer it effectively?
It's your choice, Steve. You can answer
if I learned that was true. The deep dark hole I was talking about earlier?
I'll answer it for Steve. He's the same guy.
Yes, he is.
In front of the camera and off the camera.
Yeah. No, and that's I know that. Yeah.
Which one are you going to do, Yanni?
What's a Saturday morning look like?
The softball was what does Saturday morning look like?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can answer the third one pretty easily, too. I'll answer with not much. I own a house, so the bank owns my house, but I am I do pay a mortgage. Figure I'm kind of successful there. I do flat out own a 2002 Toyota Tundra.
And a plow truck.
250,000 miles.
Yeah, you have 2 trucks.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
For a while, you had 3 trucks.
Yeah.
Plow truck.
Which is like, that's extreme wealth, right?
Oh, but I like to cook up. My kids consider the weekends, they think that's when they get to pour syrup on things.
Okay.
And so I will usually on the weekend, I will make something of that nature that they can pour syrup on in the morning and maybe cook up some bacon on the side. And, I don't know.
There you go.
Hang out with the kids,
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, hey, guys. Really, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
this was this is not a normal bear hunting magazine podcast. I mean,
no, you might have a bunch of people get irritated because there's not a lot of bear hunting tips.
Oh, you know what? We talk about bear hunting like once every 5 episodes. I mean, we're always throwing in some. We're always throwing in some. I mean, we're always talking about bear.
But you know what? It's all from the brain of a bear hunter.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is like
just the
like
simple fact that it came out of your mouth.
That's right.
Means it's bear hunting information.
That's right.
Because you like to hunt bears.
No,
I think it's a strategy that you have that's what's turning me into a bear hunter. You're not overly pushy.
He flirts with the edges.
Yeah. I think if more people did that with religion, the approach that you're taking with me with bear hunting, if they took that with religion, I might be more into taking religion. But God, that stuff seems to be just like crammed a little bit too much in my face. I'm always like, nah.
I see what you're saying.
I
think
that.
I would bet that 50% of our listenership is never bear hunted. I mean, of the people that consistently listen. I hear that all the time. Guys say, man, I don't even bear hunt. But no, truly, thank you. And man, the interview was I was intentionally trying to find different kind of stuff to talk to you guys about. And man, it's no secret. I have tons of respect for both of you. I truly do, and did before I knew you. So anyway, I hope none of my questions were disrespectful, other than how much money you have. But
I can show you what's in my pocket right now.
Yeah, how much money do you have? No, it's so stupid. People think anybody that has any sort of status in whatever field. I mean, you could be like, the best coon dog trainer in Arkansas, and people think you have money. And you're like,
what's interesting? When you're using autofill, Google autofill, and you type in most celebrities' names, you know what the number 1 hit winds up being?
What's their net worth?
Net worth.
Yeah.
So you type in any celebrity name, it's going to autofill as the most commonly searched.
Yeah.
Net worth. What was funny is for a long time, my autofill hits were knife and wife. And they would bounce back and forth. And it used to give my wife a tremendous amount of anxiety.
Because people wanted to know who you were married to?
That would be like my name and then what's a thing, knife and wife, and we used to laugh about it. Like the knife or wife. And I remember the first time anyone pointed out to me that whole like net worth thing pops up. But then someone told me like, dude, every person, like like Steve Jobs, it'll be like, it'll autofill like Steve Jobs net worth.
Okay. Yeah. Well, mine, it's great. What a great way.
Oh, you just typed in your name?
Yeah. I've never done this, but it autofills with rifle, Instagram, T-shirt, and heart.
Yeah, because your heart problem.
Yeah, because people love.
Really?
Yeah, they love talking about my heart.
Wow.
That's funny.
Wow.
Or maybe it means a lot of heart.
He's got a big heart.
Yeah,
Got a big heart. Well,
that's funny.
thanks, guys. Keep the wild places wild because that's where the bears live.
Oh,
There's
that's
our
a good
bear.
point,
There's
man.
our bear plug. We
You
say
know
that
what?
every time.
They do like them wild places.
They do for sure.
They really just kind of have a way of finding them.
Very much so.
They'll get on the whitetail train soon, though.
Who's that?
The bears.
Feeding
Yeah.
people's backyards.
I don't think y'all realize what just happened. That was the end of the show.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. MeatEater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. MeatEater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new MeatEater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, MeatEater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.